Today I wanted to talk about the different options where you can settle down here, where you can rent or buy. Of course, if you want to buy something, you cannot do it. If you want to buy a house or something, you cannot do it on your name. You need to do it on your Filipino partner or trusted person, which is very risky because in the end, you have nearly no rights because it's not on your name, it's not your title, and so it's kind of dangerous. So you really need to trust your partner. But even the person who trusted the most, something gets scammed and ripped off. But what you can do is you can buy a condo type apartment, as long as you don't own most of the building. If you just own one unit, one condo or a few condos, it's no problem at all and you can legally own it. So when you're in the big cities like Cebu and Manila, most of the time you will encounter these condos. Can range from 7,000-8,000 pesos per month up to 100,000-200,000. It can have any size, any shape, can be 15, 16 square meter, very small studio type, up to a big one, loft type with 2 floors, 3 floors, and any kind of this kind of stuff. And it's the most common accommodation type in the big cities. It has advantages, disadvantages. At first, of course, since you're in a condo, you live there with plenty of other people. So most of the time it's required that you keep a certain appearance, certain look of your condo type. So if you have a balcony or something, often you're not allowed to put the laundry outside or install some solar or put the curtains in a different color or put a different door than everyone else, because everything needs to be uniform and then aligned with the other one. Most of the time you also have a pool there, a fitness center there. You have some security guards there who open the gate for you, who let you in and let the car in and so forth. So yes, then you have to pay monthly dues, about 4, 5, 6,000, depending for the guard, for the garbage collection, for the pool cleaning and that kind of stuff. And it can also happen that you have to pay more once in a while when they make some big project, or renovate the house, painting it, or make some other big improvement or adjustment or something. But if you're the owner, you also usually can join the meetings there, the meetings of the trustees, of the president, from the community, from the so that's the kind of normal style you have in the cities. In my opinion, it's most of the time, for me personally, of course, everyone has different perspective. For me, usually it's a bit not really personal. Every unit is the same. You have to adjust with other people. You don't have a garden there or something. Yes, maybe in a swimming pool, but not that much. You don't have so much privacy when next to it. Lots of rules to follow. Said which kind of color you can use, that you don't make too much noise, that you don't make this and that. But of course, it is also its advantages. For example, your fridge break down or your water stop working or something like that. Most of the time, you have some handyman there in the house, electrician, plumber, and you just give them a call. They come over, fix it for free. Of course, you pay the monthly dues, and that's a big advantage in my opinion. And that's the kind of condo type you will encounter most of the time in Manila. Usually you can rent it, you can get it from Airbnb, you can buy it, or you can make a rent to own where you pay upfront a sum and then every month you pay something until after a few years you own it. The other extreme is that you buy a house. In Manila, most of the time it would not be possible because it's pretty expensive in the city to own a whole house. But in the countryside, it's the most common option. In the smaller towns, you can rent a house. Buying is not possible on the name of your spouse. You can build a house also on the name of your spouse or some other trusted person. Then you have to have the advantage here that you don't have any regulations. You can basically build how you want, where you want. Like in Europe, you have plenty of regulations. You need to have a certain distance to your neighbor. You need to have a certain amount of exits and windows and this distance, that distance, and everything to be approved and everything. But that's here not the case at all. Like in my neighborhood, basically no one has a building permit. You only need it when you make a business. As for me, I'm selling solar to the government, to the electricity company, access solar, so I had to make it. But usually it's not common here that you make a building permit or something. You can just build as you want, where you want, and no questions asked. What I would be careful about is about your neighbors. If you have a cockpit next to you with the roosters, this is very famous here. Then you have 20, 50 roosters next to you and making noise and disturbing you a lot. It can happen that you have next to you that is singing and then make noise every night and drinking and this kind of stuff, which is also not so nice. And of course, the regular neighbors, if you have someone partying every night and everything, is also not that good. So you should check a bit of surroundings. In the condo type, it is not so important in my opinion, because okay, there is some regulations, and then if someone is noisy, you call the guard and say go over there and then they check about it, because if this house rules and they have to follow that. Also in province, they have usually this curfew time, but most of the time they don't care, and yeah, it's very different. You should also check about it is not a flood area, because you have plenty of areas where it's a flood and you don't want to have thrice per year the water standing in your house 1 meter or something. That's not nice at all. So you should prevent check about that. And yeah, of course, there's some other stuff like not in a rebel area, NPA area, or of course they also have earthquakes here. Come on, not so big of a deal. I think the most important is that you check there's no cockpit next to you, that your neighbors is not complete assholes, and that you're not in a flood area. Then it's more or less fine. Of course, then you have to check on your own if you need a supermarket next to you, a market, or some bar, some pub, some restaurant, whatever. That's then on you. And the middle ways, also you have the condo type and you have the renting, owning a house, where you have these extremes that the condo is all regulated, all supervised under control, and then the house where you can more or less do whatever you want and no one gives a damn, and just enjoy your life, do whatever you want. And then you have this middle part, which is subdivisions. Subdivisions here, we don't really have this, I think, in Austria and Germany. So for me, it was a bit new, but I guess in many other countries, it's very common. It's kind of a big area where it's a community of houses, 100, 200 houses, 300 houses, gated community, and around is a wall, gate, guards, barbed wire, and that kind of stuff. So there is most of the time pre-built houses, bigger one, smaller one. You can buy the house. Sometimes you can also buy a property there and build your house. Of course, again, name of your spouse, because Filipino is only allowed to own a property here. And then you have your own house there, you have a garden there, you have your own area there. But you also have the benefit of some benefits of the condo type. For example, like that you have the security, that you have a wall around the houses of the gated community with the garden, the front, that people is not allowed inside, who's not some visitor, some owner or renter or something, so that strangers cannot go inside. Yeah, of course, I know who really wants to go in can also climb above the wall and then get in, but it's at least some kind of security that you have there, that not everyone can go in. Most of the time you have the swimming pool there that the whole community can use, and the tennis court or basketball court or whatever. Often you also have a function hall. It's also in the condo type. Most of the time you have a function hall, so a big room that you can use for celebrations, for parties. So most of the time you need to rent it, that you can use. And so that's kind of the middle parts, I'd say the best out of two worlds. Because of course, when you stay in the middle of this compound or something, then it's also unlikely that you have rooster next to you. But of course, when you stay next to the wall, then can be that next to you, or then behind the wall is some noise and some issue. Then you have to check about that. And yes, you have this kind of communities also in Manila and Cebu. There's some very, very big ones. Often they have also some small store inside, sari store, where you can buy basic necessities or water refilling station, or that kind of stuff. But they also in Manila have very big communities where you don't have maybe a small mall inside or something like that. And for me personally, that might be the best out of two worlds. Because on the one hand, you have more freedom. You can do what you want with the house. You can have your garden there. You have a kind of private space around. You have a garden around your houses, maybe also small walls, so that you have a private area and garden area, and can put your car there and everything. On the other hand, you have also the benefits with the pool, with the guard, with security, garbage collection, and that kind of stuff, which is, in my opinion, nice. Of course, and in these communities, you also have to pay a monthly fee, 5,000-6,000 or something like that per month. And that's, I think, also a pretty nice option to do. And that's also mostly available in Manila in some areas. And if you plan to settle down here for long, you have to check which is really the best for you, which you really like. As for me personally, I built a house here on the family property of my wife. Main reason for that was I wanted to build my own, to express or do it as I want, like the room size, the doors, the shape of the house, everything. I wanted to have it like I wanted to, not like someone else put there. I also have some animals here, so chicken, goose, ducks, and so on. That's most of them likely also not possible in this kind of gated community. And yes, you really can do what you want. No one cares on your own. But of course, on the other hand, if something happens, if there's some issue, you also don't have a guard or someone to run to help. But that's so basically the most common accommodation types here in the Philippines. And if you plan to stay for longer, check it out. As I said, most likely when you stay in a big city, Cebu, Manila, you will end up in a condo. But if you go out more countryside, then you have most likely more one of the other options. And it's really nice to have. And let me know down in the comments which is your preferred way to stay.